Welcome to the ANZAC Super Series 5, New Zealand versus Australia. We're at the ABA in Auckland, New Zealand on the 28th of July. With you today, GladrapChannel Isaac Savage and the man himself, the lawyer, Josh Nika. Thank you for being here today, brother.
Hello. No, good to be here. Some brilliant fights so far. I'm enjoying them all. And hopefully we've got a good one here.
Next up, we've got Pelea Fruean, cousin of Joseph Parker there in the red corner, and Jasleen Balwinder in the blue corner from Tauranga. This is his New Zealand versus New Zealand matchup exhibition. However, we saw an exhibition earlier and it turned into a bit more of that. And as you know, Josh, sometimes an exhibition turns out to be a bit more than an exhibition fight, doesn't it?
Well, it's only an exhibition in the terms of your record, which people aren't too concerned about in the amateurs. But there's certainly plenty of mana on the line when you're fighting in front of a bunch of people, and often people are left with an impression of who they think won and who didn't win. So they always fight like it's a war, like it's a fight, like a proper fight.
The interesting thing too is Pelea Fruean in the red has actually fought earlier today against Terrace, who's an accomplished boxer in herself. And we were saying earlier, even when you do have an exhibition, you know when you touch gloves at the end of the fight who won. You know deep down in your heart soul who actually won the fight, and we'll find out that today after this fight.
Yeah. Unless there's some kind of delusion, like some people are often able to make themselves think they've won even if they haven't won. There's always that, but there's a general feel, like a primal, who's the top dog kind of thing.
You just know, right? Like you said, unless you're delusional but that's probably the only word for it. And honest with yourself, because you've got to be right. You know, even in an exhibition, who won, who held back, when you could have held back, what punches hurt, and you just got to be honest with yourself. And the last fight was really hard to call, though. Terrace and Pelea Fruean, like we were discussing it to say this would actually be a great fight for real, for the W.
Yeah. And
we're going to see what happens in this fight, because Jasleen Balwinder's got a few fights up her sleeve. However, Pelea Fruean has got plenty as well, and this will be a good warm up for
right hand
both.
From Pelea Fruean. So I understand she's got boxing pedigree.
Yeah, must run in the family, and she's only in her teens. Has travelled around the world already for tournaments in that sense. So she's certainly racking up the experience with a few feathers under her cap.
Did you say she was related to the big man JP?
Yeah, the big man JP, who's actually fighting tomorrow against Dillian White. Thoughts on that? Are you going to actually make a call on the mic of who you think might win or how that might go down?
Well, I'm in New Zealand and I'm a New Zealander, so I'm going to go Joseph Parker by devastating KO. That's always the go-to. That's the political smart move. But I actually do think Joe Parker's due for a convincing win, and I think he'll deliver for us.
Yeah, a lot of pundits out there are quite 50-50, with...
It is. To be honest, it's a hot, well-contested fight.
You'll be getting up to watch, even actually the undercard's looking good. Derek Terrace, Carlos Takam, who's actually fought and come over here to New Zealand. But, the big ones, JP, our man, from New Zealand against the body snatcher Dillian White. And, what a name. What a name in itself.
Yeah, again, there are so many variables. Like, you look at Joe Parker and Anthony Joshua. Both guys wanted to win, I think. Well, you'd think so. But totally different fight to when Dillian White fought Anthony Joshua. So, I mean, styles make fights. Who knows what kind of fight we're going to get out of them when they come across each other. Because I imagine both guys are going to expect to win this fight. White's going to expect to win. Parker's going to expect to win. So, who knows what kind of game plan they bring out. And we might see way more fireworks than we saw with Anthony Joshua and Parker.
Let's hope so. And speaking of fireworks, there's a few near the later rounds in this fight. The later part of the round. However, I feel Pelea Fruean already warmed up. She already looks like she's in her prime in the game. A little bit more swag, a little bit more movement, and maybe a little bit more experience than the Jasleen Balwinder from Tauranga in the blue. But still only the first round, 2 to go, and this is an exhibition fight. So, as we know, there is no winner or loser at the end of this. They're both winners on the day.
That's right. it's actually a good chance for these fighters to try things out that you wouldn't normally try out in a fight, maybe. I mean, you can try that out in sparring, of course, but it's a whole different environment here.
Well, that's the thing. Some people are quite different under the lights, and some people are very good, you know, on the pads in the gym, and then when they get in the ring, it's a completely different story, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And you would have seen that, you know, growing up with your experience. Some guys turn up to training,
That's right.
don't do bugger all, and then when they get in the ring, they're an absolute killer.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you get some people who are suspiciously good in the gym and then just not quite the same when they're in the ring.
And it all comes down to, you know, the psychology and how you perform under pressure, in a sense, you know, and it's probably a big part of it.
Psychology, yeah, that's right. Also, there are a whole lot of things people don't actually take into account as well with gym wars, gym fighting, like inter-gym conflicts. One thing that's important for coaches to note, the gloves of the people that are sparring your fighters. Make sure they're wearing sufficient ounce gloves and they're not worn through where the knuckle is going to be hitting your fighter directly. So that might be one reason why some guys look like killers in the gym, and they're not quite the same come fight night.
Yeah, there's so many variables, right? Like you can rock up to a fight night, your song might get messed up, your opponent might be not the person you thought it was, the gloves might get changed last minute, and it can all mess with your mental warfare game plan in that sense. And I mean, you would have experienced, you rock up and you're fighting gloves you're not even used to. Or
Often the house fighter, the person who everyone wants to win, the person who the promotional company might want to win, they'll have favours done to them. And if you're a guest and you're not supposed to win the fight, then often little bits and pieces can be planted to put you off your game plan. The song gets messed up, you know, suspiciously convenient for the for the hometown fighter.
No ice bucket.
Yeah,
there's so many things,
ice bucket,
right?
Yeah. And I mean, you look at David Haye when he went out to fight Vladimir Klitschko, and the mobs of people he had to walk through. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of things.
Wet boots.
Been covering lately. Hey, David Haye against the Scouser recently. You know, what's his name?
Yeah, Tony Bellew.
When that first, I was always back in the loudmouth Bellew, and but I thought deep down if he gets rocked by Haye, it'll be over. But he managed to toes him up and take it to him 2 times in a row. It's
amazing how some of those guys can say things and they become true. You know, like I didn't believe that what Bellew was saying about David Haye's a fast twitch fighter, and they don't age well, and he's not going to be able to sustain the kind of explosive style that he needs in order to beat me. And then exactly what he said, which ended up being the truth.
Yeah, look, mental warfare.
Yeah, mental warfare. Maybe it gets in the head of the opponents and they start to believe it.
And I hope watching these fighters and especially these up and comers, they start not getting to the trash talk side of things, but start backing up what they can say, what they can do, because it's all about marketing yourself to get forward. Yeah. Your brother, on the other hand, is quite a humble guy. Yeah, he's not really the smack talker. Yeah. He's a guy that just was quite genuine and more so lets his hands do the talking.
Yeah, I think it's not encouraged in our culture. I don't think to Kiwis. We're quite. Yeah, I mean we value humbleness. So like, we enjoy someone like Conor McGregor, and we all respect Floyd Mayweather, and we all just enjoy his persona. But I think if a Kiwi acts like that, we might kind of resist it.
And that's the hardest thing with trying to, I wouldn't say mimic the American style, but yeah, look, you see the Mayweathers, the Conor McGregors, go up and promote themselves and get where they get to, maybe partly because of how they talk up a game, and it's like you said, it's kind of going against the grain for us Kiwis, Aussies, to do that.
Yeah, we value like modesty, being humble, gracious in defeat and victory.
And it's saying that I've talked to Pelea Fruean on many occasions, and even earlier tonight I said, "You're fighting again?" And she said to me, "I'm fighting 3 times." I'm like, "You're crazy," and she's like, "Oh, it's okay." Like, you just mention it, modesty, humbleness, and fighting 3 times in one night is no mean. It's an amazing feat in a sense, and kudos to her. And look at her now, just coming forward, taking it to Jasleen Balwinder, who's a little bit out of, I guess, in deep waters, and maybe possibly that's saying there are levels to this, and slightly a little bit sort of experience in this fight here, Josh.
Yep. She landed a few shots before though. I think, you know how we're saying an exhibition fight's a chance for people to try things out under the lights. I feel like that's what Leah might have been trying before. You know, she's getting on a few different angles, allowing the Jasleen to get a few shots in there. But she's definitely outmatched in terms of experience, I think. Jasleen is. But she's doing well.
And saying that too, the engine's already been warmed and revved up earlier on in the fight, and maybe if Jasleen had a warm-up fight earlier too, she'd be moving around a little bit slicker, a little bit with more swag. It's like, you know, taking a car onto the racetrack after it's done a few laps. It's going to perform a little bit better, and Pelea Fruean's certainly on fire tonight.
She's done a hard shift though.
Yeah,
three fights. This is her third fight tonight.
9 rounds in total. It's
9 rounds, yep.
Similar to Jason Studdy's King of the Ring.
Oh, beautiful moving the head, uppercut right hand there from Pelea Fruean. She's changing the angle, moving in, moving her head.
Just shows the fitness as well to be moving like this on the 6th round. Obviously she's had a break between fights, but you know, the fitness is there. She's on sort of world level contention anyway, so this is great for her tonight. Beautiful performance from both fighters.
Yeah, brilliant.
Pelea Fruean in the red, Jasleen Balwinder from Tauranga there in the blue. Brave effort and beautiful performance from both fighters.
Yeah. Both hands will be raised. Exhibition.
Oh, you know, you got to love it. And like we said, we've all seen exhibition fights where it's a chance to experiment, and I've seen ones get out of hand where someone's been, you know, absolutely flatlined. You would have seen the same in your career, Josh.
Yep, sure did. But now that's actually good to see. You know, neither girl was going for the throat there, or like the figurative kill. They used it exactly how you should use an exhibition fight, to try a few things out.